Coming up on Life in the Carolinas, we'll celebrate the great American independent spirit with our special guests, Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin.
Dr. Franklin, you're at it again.
Yes, sir. I'm incorrigible.
We'll take a trip back in time to visit Fort Defiance.
Look, it's 1795.
We'll celebrate the independent spirit of making spirits in our Carolina success story.
I tell people all the time I was perfectly suited to do all of that because I had absolutely no experience and no money.
And thanks to some caring friends, an American bald eagle soars again.
Who can't be wowed by that?
It's all coming up right now on Life in the Carolinas. Closed caption brought to you in part by MoxieCopy.com, America's source for reliable quality printing, delivered right to your door at a price you're going to love. Life in the Carolinas is brought to you in HD by Hampton Inn & Suites at Phillips Place. MoxieCopy.com has the confidence of customers nationwide, like Wooten & Wooten, auctioneers of fine art and antiques, whose demand for quality is high.
In our business, we deal with serious antiquities, and our catalogs are important to us. MoxieCopy.com gave us the price, quality, and speedy delivery that we could count on to get the job done.
For the best price, quality, and service, turn to MoxieCopy.com.
Sold.
On this episode of Life in the Carolinas, we're going to celebrate the great spirit of America. We're here at Fort Defiance in Lenoir, North Carolina, and we're joined by some of our good friends from the past. Thomas Jefferson. How do you do, sir?
I am quite well, and Dr. Benjamin Franklin.
And how do you do, sir?
I am quite well. How was your trip?
Long and arduous through terrible roads and swollen streams. However, we've come here into the frontier of Western Carolina and found this rustic jewel.
It is impressive.
We must be 300 miles from the coast. I've never been this far in the frontier before. You know, Fort Defiance was built as a fort to protect the settlers from the Indians. And today, this is all we have left.
Well, gentlemen, there's a lady waiting, and she's been waiting for a very long time, and I don't think I can keep her waiting any longer.
Absolutely, you mustn't keep her waiting.
I'll see you later. I was wondering what it might be like to visit Fort Defiance back in the day. Well, I was lucky enough to find someone that could show me around. The only problem is I'm about, well, 220 years too late. Lucky for me, I'm in TV. Look, it's 1795.
Good morrow, sir.
Hello, Mrs. Lenoir.
And I presume you must be Mr. White.
I am.
We've been expecting you.
Well, I'm excited about the visit.
And I must apologize for my husband not being here to greet you. It's been very busy. He's just been appointed Major General of the Militia.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
You know, you have a beautiful home here. Tell me about this. How was it built? When did this all happen?
We started it in the year 1788 and finished it in 1792. However, we did move in 91 because I was expecting my 8th child, and having lived in a 2-room log cabin, it was becoming quite crowded. This is the Great Hall. This is, of course, where we do most of our entertaining, and actually we were having tea on the tables that the General got from Philadelphia for me.
So this table come from Philadelphia?
Yes. Furniture here is quite outstanding. As a matter of fact, let me point out the looking glasses, and we ordered these from Scotland. It took 2.5 years for them to get here.
Oh my goodness. I mean, this house is so impressive. Your neighbors don't have homes like this?
No, they don't. Most are living in 1- and 2-room log cabins.
Yes.
And you must be wondering about the name.
I am, because I truly expected as we came back at time, I mean, when we come over here, I thought that I was going to see a fort with cannons and guns and...
We did choose to name the home Fort Defiance because it told people how to get here, and that's how we came by the name Fort Defiance. Let me next take you into the winter kitchen.
Now, when you say winter kitchen, you have another kitchen?
I do have another kitchen. I actually have an outdoor summer kitchen, and that is where the food is prepared during the summer months. Also, let me point out this table here. This table we had to bring with us. It has sentimental value. The General made this himself, and it was his first dining table.
Oh, so it's been in the family.
The General's study is just through this door. Perhaps he would be accommodating and may be able to meet with you.
Well, hopefully he would. I'd love that.
Let's hope.
Yes.
William, dear.
Yes, dear.
Might we interrupt you for a moment?
Oh, you're not interrupting. I was just making some notes to the distillery. Our fine French brandy is not quite what it could be.
I'm so sorry to hear that. But let me introduce you to Mr. White.
Mr. White, welcome to Fort Defiance.
Ah, the new Major General.
Oh, well, yes.
Congratulations. Your wife's been showing me around, and you've got some wonderful collections. But how did you get into the militia?
Well, you know, like all good able-bodied men of this area, I started out as a private in the militia, and as a lieutenant, me and my rangers explored this area, and I fell in love with it. Are you a member of the local militia?
Well, I'd like to know more.
Well, let's get you signed up and familiar with a musket.
Well, why don't we learn about that musket first?
Stepping briefly back into the future, the Major General demonstrated to me and others of my time how the Founding Fathers used this classic piece of American history.
Every able-bodied male between the age of 16 and 60 would have been expected to serve in the militia. This is the flintlock. It was the firing mechanism of the time period.
So this is the gun that when Thomas Jefferson and the folks were sitting around talking about the Second Amendment rights, this is the gun they were talking about.
This is the gun they envisioned. This is the gun that every American owned. They used it to feed their family. They used it to defend their family. With
so
the
this
shot
is a
pouch.
tool, just like a shovel, just like
a hammer, just like anything else. It was necessary to keep food on the table and keep the family going. Let's talk about how this thing works, how we would load it.
Absolutely.
First thing that goes down the barrel is the powder. The powder would have been measured out.
Now, what type of powder is this?
This is black powder.
Okay.
And that's different from modern day smokeless powder. But black powder goes down the barrel. This is the ball that this gun would shoot.
So this is
lead. It's a lead
ball.
A lead ball. We're not actually going to load a ball in a day. The ramrod was used to push the wadding and the ball to the back of the barrel.
Right.
And a lot of our modern terminology still comes from our involvement with the flintlock during that time period.
Okay.
Such as straight as ramrod.
Ah, okay.
The term lock, stock, and barrel
Okay.
are from that time period. That's what this is. That's what a man purchased. What I'm going to do now, this is half cock. This is the way the gun would be carried when it was loaded, is in this half cock position.
Okay.
And you might hear the term sometimes going off half
cock.
cocked, right,
Okay.
would be if a gun went off in this position. So the next thing we need to do is prime the pan. This is the pan. There's a small hole in the back of the barrel. And that's where the main charge is. Put a little gunpowder there in the pan.
Okay.
Don't need much. And close the pan.
Okay.
Another term that we have today, that flash in the pan, is when you get ignition here but not in the back of the barrel. All right, so we go back to full cock.
Whoa, I think I can do this. So this is the proper measure so that I'm not going to have an explosion. All right, so now I take the cloth,
Right.
which you have here. Now, what do you call this again?
It would have been wadding.
All right, so this goes in like
we'll
this.
Put that there. That's going to represent our...
And then I take
Pull the ramrod out.
the ramrod out.
Yep.
Okay, so,
Yeah, want to go all the way down with it.
wow.
It went down a lot easier that time.
Much easier. Okay, so this comes out. And,
Come on back to half cock.
okay, so half cocked is
It'll
here.
be the first click.
Okay.
Right there.
We need a little powder here?
Yeah, a little powder there. Just
Okay.
trickle it in there.
Okay, just a little.
And then close the frizzen.
Okay, so this.
Yeah, yes,
So just pull it back.
yes. All right, now, this is a basic flint and steel set.
Okay.
This is the steel and this is the flint. And when you pull it back to full cock and pull the trigger, what's going to happen is that flint is going to shave steel off the face of the frizzen, and that is going to create the sparks which are going to ignite the powder. Now you're going to need to go back to full cock. There, all right, that's full cock. That's it. Right?
Well, that's how you do it on the frontier.
My lesson complete, I returned the Major General to his home in 1795.
Well, Major General, that was an exciting musket lesson. You know, that's my first one.
You did wonderful.
Well, thank you. You know, I think that you and your wife are going to have a place in history.
We hope so.
Well, I believe you will.
Before you leave, are you thirsty?
Thirsty?
Yes, we have a distillery here on the property. We make a nice strong beer, a fine French brandy, and a wonderful gin.
Well, who am I to deny great Southern hospitality?
Well, let's go to the
Well,
distillery.
let's go do it. Before I do that, when we come back, we'll be in Chapel Hill at a modern-day distillery. But I'm not leaving now. I'm going to stay here. Dr. Franklin, you're at it again.
Yes, sir, I'm incorrigible.
Yes, you are. I have a question for you.
Yes?
Are distilleries a new thing in America?
Oh, not at all. George Washington had a distillery.
The father of our nation.
He did indeed.
Well, I found one not far from here.
Yes?
Here in the Carolinas.
Are we going?
We're going now.
Good.
Turning wheat into spirits, a time-honored process that has deep traditions in America. There are plenty of restaurants around, and a fair number of breweries too, and even a few micro-distilleries. But I'm about to visit a business that combines them all. Top of the Hill Distillery has a commitment to using local and organic ingredients, as well as environment-friendly practices that are top-notch, and started by a man who loves his hometown of Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, Carl, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Hey, hearing some great things about you. Distillers around the Carolinas are talking about you. Can't wait to see what you're doing.
Well, we're excited. Let's show.
Yeah,
Let's
okay,
show what's going on.
great. Let's take a look at this equipment. I mean, this is so impressive, Scott. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
One of the things about my business model was I wanted to build a still that was capable of making any kind of liquor that we wanted to make. If you look and you see, this thing is like a big erector set, right? The still has got a bunch of pipes, and we can hook it up in ways special and unique to the spirit that we want to actually make.
So you can do it all here.
We can do anything. The challenge in distilling is separating methanol that you don't want to drink from ethanol, which you do want to drink. And normally, a microdistillery only has a pot still. You know, starting 100 years ago, they understood the importance of a taller and taller column, letting you have more space to separate the molecules based on volatility. But what we did was we invested in a continuous column, and this again is what made us very efficient and very green. We get the best of both worlds here, which is, you know, we're still using pot still technology. It's just that the top of our pot is a lot taller, but in this, a continuous column, we are able to separate things along the way as well. So we're combining both of those in a way that not only makes it cost efficient, not only makes it environmentally friendly, but makes a superior product.
Wow, and that's what it's all about. One thing's for sure, I mean, this is an absolute work of art.
Gorgeous.
I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. So I know you have to be awfully proud of it.
So proud, in fact, that tours are a regular feature at Top of the Hill Distillery.
Dried lemon peel, dried lime peel. When you distill, you get 3 different types of alcohols that come out of the column. You've got what are called heads, hearts, and tails.
But your big base that you're proud of now is wheat.
We chose to use wheat because wheat, in our estimation, makes a very sweet, clean, light spirit. And that's a good base for everything. Really, we're only aging it in order for it to become a good color and to get those flavors of caramel and vanilla that we want. The real upshot of wheat whiskey, and this is why I encourage people to try it, is that it's very mellow and smooth when it goes in the barrel. And wheat whiskey, I think, fell out of favor because it was too expensive. But I guarantee you, you're gonna have a high quality product that comes out of there because you've got a high quality product going in.
Give us a little background. How did you get into this business?
I started Top of the Hill Restaurant and Brewery back in '96 to prevent a chain restaurant from dominating downtown Chapel Hill.
So you wanted to be more of a local type of a business?
Absolutely, and to me it was, I just don't like the homogenization of everything. I looked at the idea of distilling, and at the time I realized, wow, I could have a completely local, and then even on top of that, an organic product that was world-class, and I got very excited at that concept of making those kind of spirits. And I realized, geez, this is also the way for me to put local and organic on our menu at Top of the Hill and other menus throughout the state in a meaningful way.
Now, what did you do before? I mean, you said you discovered the area and you wanted to make this your home.
I actually went to West Point for undergrad, and I was an Army officer, and I was in the first Gulf War, and I got out of the Army after that war. I decided I'd be a small business person, and I went to law school with that idea.
Now, is that when you were just getting out of law school?
I was actually in law school.
I mean, that's a big thing to put your hands around.
Well, yeah, I tell people all the time I was perfectly suited to do all of that because I had absolutely no experience and no money.
So it worked out.
It worked out.
Scott must be doing something right because he's won a pot boiler full of awards. Just take a look at this impressive list. And you know, this isn't even all of them. Even their green process has been certified.
We're always excited to work with companies like Top of the Hill Distillery because we like to see businesses that are trailblazing a little bit, that are kind of setting a new and different example with their sustainability process.
Another thing that I found fascinating was that little barrel that you've got.
You guys package that as age your own whiskey kit.
Right, right. I think people are really fascinated at the idea that they can, age your own whiskey. And so what's cool is you really can affect the aging of the whiskey. So it's a lot of fun to see the differences about where you age this. Do you age it out in your garage? Do you age it inside your house? This is a whole learning process for them as well. And so it's a very cool thing.
Tell me about your people here. I mean, you've got people that have been doing this for a while. They know what they're doing.
George, our head distiller, has been in the fermentation industry for over 20 years now. And that kind of experience just can't be duplicated. Esteban is a really great guy. He is a former Army officer as well, although we didn't know each other in the Army. He was in the financial industry and ultimately not only invested in the distillery, but he and I are actually the sales team, and like we say, he's the spirit guide of the Top of the Hill Distillery. So yeah, it works out great. I liken it a lot to NASCAR. Right? I mean, you got to have it's like a holy trilogy, right? You got to have the driver, you got to have the car, and you got to have the pit crew, right? It's kind of the same thing here. You got to have the great ingredients, you got to have the actual still, and then you got to have the talent to actually make that happen.
And for those who know history, certainly whiskey had a big part in the establishment of NASCAR.
Exactly.
You're taking the best ingredients you can find, organic, local wheat. You're finding the best barrels you can find. You've got the best process you can find. And from that, it gives you a great product at the end.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
When we come back, an American bald eagle finds his wings.
Wow.
Closed caption brought to you in part by Moosehead Grill, home of Uncle Donnie's national award-winning wings.
The people of the Carolinas are well known for their efforts in preserving nature. And here at the Carolina Raptor Center, great effort is applied toward preserving some of our fine feathered friends.
So this is the trail where all the education birds are housed.
Okay.
And so these birds are all birds that are trained to go out to school classrooms all over the region.
So they're educators.
That's right, absolutely.
Okay. Wonderful.
In fact, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife requires that our birds have jobs.
So the birds have to be employed.
That's exactly right. Really, our first goal is to get those birds well and happy and back in nature.
Oh, that's fantastic. But even for birds, educators are important.
Good job.
I understand that bonsai, the black vultures, have the intelligence of a human, maybe a young human.
They
but
do,
still young.
about the learning capacity of a 2 to 3 year old child. So they're very curious. So they're one of the smartest species we have here at the center.
There you go, bonsai. Yes. Oh, wonderful. That's great.
Such a messy eater.
Yes, well, yeah, there you go. It's got dirt on it now.
Yep, so now he doesn't want to. Ever heard of a picky vulture? He is definitely one.
Tell me about this bird and where he came from.
Well, this is Scout, and he's a Harris hawk.
Right.
They're found in the deserts of the Southwest, so Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. And the big tie with them is just these guys are really cool birds. Harris hawks will hunt in what we call packs. They're considered the wolves of the sky, essentially.
Wow.
And they'll hunt in groups of about 4 or 5 birds.
Wolves of the sky. That's fantastic. Here comes Willow. 12 different species here puts on a performance. Memorial Day through Labor Day. Every year, you can come right here at this outdoor amphitheater and you can see these wonderful birds of flight put on a wonderful show for you. There she goes. This is the largest flight cage, and inside there's an American bald eagle that's been now fully rehabilitated,
That's
right?
correct, yeah.
So came into the hospital, went through all the procedures, and he passed his mouse test.
That's
So he
correct.
can actually catch wild prey, and he's going to be released today. Wow. That's amazing. So we're here with Dr. Dave Scott. Dave, you are the veterinarian that kind of brought this eagle back to life. Now, tell us about the injuries when it came in and that transformation.
Well, so this bird came in with a fracture of its ulna, which is a bone in the forearm, and it was kind of close to the wrist, and it was actually an old injury, so it had partially healed, and she was very thin because in that condition she couldn't hunt, and the extension of her wrist was very, very poor. So we had to fatten her up and do a lot of physical therapy to restore the range of motion to her wing. So her progress was really good, and luckily for her, we just had built a brand new, very large flight cage. She did really well. Here we are today.
Great. Thanks, Doctor. Appreciate it.
I really want to thank you guys for coming out here. What a tremendous crowd. What a show of support for this bird, for the community, and for us at the Carolina Raptor Center. It is my privilege to be here as we release this beautiful bird. We are lucky to have with us Dr. Dave Scott, and I want to let you know this is a very humble man, but he is one of the top avian veterinarians in the world. Not in Charlotte, in the world. If I could have everybody back up that way, a little bit more, because we don't know which way this bird is going to go. This is a big bird.
A big bird, 7 years old.
This is exciting. Wow. Who can't be wowed by that? Oh my gosh.
This eagle could end up in the Great Lakes, it could end up in Florida, we really don't know. That's the wonderful thing, there's so much to learn. And we don't know where this eagle could go. Birds have wings and they can go wherever they please.
Well, folks, I think you've seen why we wanted to show up at the Carolina Raptor Center and see this wonderful eagle off, and wherever he wants to be, whether it's here in the Carolinas or if he wants to go somewhere else. But we like to think it'll stay right here. On September the 15th, 1789, the majestic eagle became a permanent part of the seal of the United States of America.
I beg your pardon, sir.
Yes?
But you know, I was hoping that the symbol would become the turkey.
Oh, Ben, you can't have the turkey as a symbol of America.
Well, of course you can, sir. The symbol is a magnificent symbol, a symbol of sustenance. Who is going to eat an eagle?
It's not about substance. It's visualism. It's about this thing that inspires.
Well, I would be inspired by the turkey indeed.
Oh,
and besides, sir, you realize the eagle is the symbol of tyranny for thousands of years throughout Europe.
It was just used for bad then. It was just used for bad. Now it's used for this wonderful thing to inspire the people of the colonies. This is wonderful, though.
Well, but it's speaking to people who have been tyrannized by this bird. And I did not feel it adequately represented our nature.
It must be the American bald eagle.
Well, it is the American.
Yes, it is.
But I did want to voice my opinion and my displeasure.